Hello everyone and welcome to my review of Streets of Rage 3 on the Sega Megadrive. I'm playing this particular version on the Blaze Megadrive mini console type thing. And this was one of the games that come bundled with it. Strangely enough, this came with Streets of Rage, but it didn't actually have Streets of Rage 2 built into it, which was kind of weird. I'm not too sure why that was the case. It seems a bit odd as well because the actual console itself was billed as being the Streets of Rage edition, so it seems kind of weird having one of the games and the second game missing. I mean, I don't know what goes on with these things and licensing, but I mean, I don't see why there would be a license issue. The games were made by Sega, so why Sega would allow Streets of Rage 1 and 3 to be released but not Streets of Rage 2 is a mystery to me. But I'm sure there's some bizarre, weird, strange reason behind it. But I do have Streets of Rage 2 on the Sega Master System Genesis collection on the PlayStation 3. So I will be doing a review of that in the future. But for now, this is Streets of Rage 3 on the Mega Drive Blaze console thingy. The first thing that really springs to mind playing this is just how bad the music is, and I think again this is down to the bizarre music emulation on the actual Blaze console itself. It's not that it's a confusing mess, it's because it's slower than the original music, and therefore it comes across as being a mess. It's not that the chip or the emulator device inside the Blaze is changing the music, it's just slower than normal, but because this is some sort of weird techno soundtrack that's with it, it really does change it up quite a bit, and it does make it sound awful. In some places it sounds alright, but in other places it does sound bloody awful. But gameplay wise, the game is unaffected. It's certainly a lot more playable with the Mega Drive style joypads included on the Blaze device than trying to play it with a PS3 joypad, which the game was never intended to be played with in the first place. It's a lot easier to pull off some of the special moves, and in this one as well you can kind of sprint out of the way of the bad guys. You can do a little burst of speed, or you can do a little roll up and down the screen, and that is far easier to execute with the Mega Drive joypad than it is with the PS3 joypad, largely because the D-pad on the Mega Drive pads is far superior to the D-pad on any modern day controller device, which always remains a bit of a surprise to me that they went to all the effort of creating these analog joypads and what have you and made the D-pads absolutely terrible. They very much are an afterthought. But yeah, I mean, of the Streets of Rage games, is this one my favourite? It's a tough one. I really do like Streets of Rage 2, and of course the original Streets of Rage was awesome as well, but there was no doubt in my mind that Streets of Rage 2 and 3 were a greater evolution of the series. I'd probably say it's really difficult to pick out which one I prefer out of 2 and 3. I do like Streets of Rage 3. I think it's a good game, but I don't think, and this is going to sound like a strange thing to say, but I found it easier to complete Streets of Rage 3 than I did Streets of Rage 2. I thought that was a tad more challenging. So I think I'm going to go with Streets of Rage 2, but that is not to say that this is in any way, shape or form a poor game, because it's not. It's absolutely bloody awesome. I'm not a huge fan of beat-em-ups, especially the sort of one-on-one beat-em-ups like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, by and large, because I'm usually hopelessly crap at them. But beat 'em ups in general I'm not a huge fan of, but the Streets of Rage series I really liked, far and above any others. And people might say I'm crazy, but I wasn't a big fan of Final Fight, even though these are very, very similar to them. I don't know why I have that sort of bizarre different. I don't know. I guess it's just familiarity with the game. I really can't put my finger on it. I can't give you a logical, rational explanation as to why I prefer Streets of Rage to Final Fight. I was never a huge fan of Double Dragon either. I remember. I've got that on an NES. Well, I've got it on the Wii, but it's on the NES download games, and I bloody hate it. I think it's awful. I wasn't a big fan of the arcades. They used to have a Double Dragon arcade in the bus station where I used to go to college, and I played it a few times in there. I was never a big fan of it. I was never a big fan of Renegade either. I mean, I had that on the Commodore 64, and that had one of the worst control systems ever, where the movement was via the joystick, but the actual combat was via the keyboard. That wasn't a very clever design by the developers of that, because you had to sort of play. You had to use the joystick on a table and hope you had one with the suction cups on the bottom to lock down on the table. And that wasn't the best of control systems. It was fairly crap, and so I hadn't really had a good relationship with beat-em-ups until I got Streets of Rage on the Mega Drive, and I got it after playing it at a friend's, and we played the 2-player on the original Streets of Rage, and I was blown away by how much I enjoyed it, because, like I say, we'd actually just had a game of Mortal Kombat before, and it was okay, but I wasn't hugely impressed by it. I mean, I think of all of the one-on-one beat-em-ups, Mortal Kombat is probably my favourite. But we played Streets of Rage, and I was really blown away by that. I liked all of the different bad guys. I liked going around the levels, beating them up and stuff like that. But I mean, just diversifying here. If any game where you have to fight a kangaroo with boxing gloves on, I'm sorry, that game has got to go down as being one of the best games ever. Yeah. I mean, it's just bizarre in the extreme, but it's just awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I remember the first time playing this, I actually sat there for a moment and thought, is that a bloody kangaroo? So, yeah, I do. I love this game. I think it's absolutely awesome. But as I was saying just before, I'm jumping around a bit here, but as I was saying just before, I got the original Streets of Rage after playing it at my friend's, and that was it. I mean, I fell in love with the series then. I think it's probably because it's fast paced, it's tough, there's a good challenge in there. There's, decent characters to choose from. You can find one with a fighting style that suits you. And yeah, I mean, the graphics are amazing as well. I mean, to think this is on the Sega Megadrive, they were awesome for the day. I mean, you've got all of this particular level where you've got all like the disco lights going on and what have you. I mean, like I say, by today's standards, people are just going to sit there and go, yeah, what's the big deal? But imagine sticking this in the Mega Drive the first time you got it, and it just would have looked awesome. Absolutely awesome. And it's cool that unless you sort of went through those generations, it's difficult to sell you on the idea of just how awesome it looks. But it's a fantastic game. The animation, the variety in the characters, the level of detail, in your character is brilliant, and these type of games to me are sadly missed in the current generation of games consoles, because they are brilliant. I mean, thankfully you can get these games via Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network. Sega have made them available for download, and it's great really because they are truly fantastic games. I love playing them, and yeah, what else can you say? It's Streets of Rage 3, and it's awesome. It's as awesome now as it always has been. I suppose one of the interesting elements, these games were called Bare Knuckle in Japan, and they probably ended up having the name changed because of the sensibilities at the time of the Western games market. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as they were known in the US. In the UK, was changed for a few years to Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. I mean, because ninja sounded too violent. They didn't change anything in the cartoons or in any of the merchandise. So, changing it because ninja sounds violent. I mean, I imagine, Hero Turtles, Ninja Turtles. Well, it's just ridiculous, and they ended up changing it back to Ninja Turtles anyway. I mean, all of these bizarre things changed as time went on. So, I mean, if Streets of Rage, Bare Knuckle, Streets of Rage, is there really that much of a difference? Bare Knuckle fighting, I suppose, but it doesn't really matter. It's just an interesting observation as to how games get their name changed. I mean, it might have been nothing to do with that at all. I mean, it could have been to do with not being able to get the copyright for the name. I mean, that's why the Genesis was called the Genesis in the US, but the Mega Drive everywhere else. It's because Sega struggled to secure the rights to the name Mega Drive in the US. And it seems a very bizarre concept, doesn't it? But yeah, so that's Streets of Rage 3. Thank you very much for watching this video. It's a great game. Go and check it out. And please stay tuned to my channel for more videos coming up soon. Thank you very much for watching.